Have you ever felt in the middle of an ordinary day a strange warmth in your chest, a silent certainty that someone, somewhere, has just thought of you with a gaze no one else has ever had? As if, in the midst of routine, in the midst of bills, in the midst of the age the world insists on using as a sentence, an invisible voice whispered inside you. It's not over yet, and maybe it's just beginning. It's not imagination. It's not loneliness. It's not the heart inventing stories to console itself at night. It's a sign. And what is happening now on the invisible plane explains exactly why this feeling has returned so strongly, precisely at a stage of life when they told you it was too late to feel anything like love again. There's a game being played in layers that most people never notice. A game where the enemy has learned that the most effective weapon against a child of God is not illness, not scarcity, but convincing them that love has an expiration date, convincing them that the years gone by were the only ones that mattered, convincing them that the next season of life can only be made of loneliness, of television on late, of a half-empty bed and half-silence. That's the game. And if you are watching this now, it's because something within you refused to accept this lie. Something stubborn, pure, alive keeps responding every time someone smiles at you on the street, every time you dream of a face you don't even know, every time an old song plays and your chest tightens for no reason. Think, what if everything you've been feeling in the last few months, this premonition that someone is approaching, this hope that insists on knocking on the door even after so many disappointments, were precisely proof that heaven has moved because of your story? That a person right now is being prepared for you, chosen with a name, a last name, with scars that match yours, and that the only thing separating you is the time it will take for you to accept that God doesn't look at your birth certificate before deciding to love you through another soul. Age was never an obstacle to God's plan. Age is a barrier the world invented to take away the only thing that could save you from emptiness, the hope of being found. That's why I've prepared this powerful ebook for you, The Chosen Family Protection Handbook. This ebook is more than just reading material. It's the missing map to help you understand that this waiting wasn't a punishment, but preparation, and that there are spiritual rules about heaven-ordained relationships that they never told you at the altar, on the couch, or in self-help books. It shows you exactly who is playing against your right to love again, what forces were used to convince you that your time of being desired was over, and what has been revealed about the moment a soul is released to find the other after years of waiting. This ebook was written for those who have awakened enough to understand that the loneliness forced upon them in recent years wasn't destiny, it was strategy, and for those ready to go far beyond the shallow answers the world offers to those over 40, 50, 60. The link is in the first comment pinned to the top of the comments. But I need to warn you, this kind of content is rarely available for long. What's in these pages challenges narratives that many are interested in keeping intact. The narrative that you've already wasted your time, that love is for young people, and there have already been attempts to silence this knowledge before. Don't wait for the right moment. The right moment is now, chosen, because you didn't stumble upon this text by accident. Download now and comment below, "I'm chosen and I'll download the ebook." Make this an act of faith, because the moment you declare it aloud, something moves in the unseen. Now that you've made that decision, pay attention to what I'm about to reveal next, because this is precisely where the war for your love story intensifies. The commitment you've just made is the fuel that will break through the next veil. There is a person whose soul was woven on the same loom as yours, and this person is neither too young nor too old for you, because in the dimensions of the spirit, there is no chronological age, there is mission age. There are souls who needed to live 40 years to develop the patience needed to love you. There are souls who needed to travel 50 years of wrong roads to arrive refined, humble, ready to recognize you. There are souls who needed to bury spouses, bury dreams, bury old versions of themselves, to finally be available to you exactly in the year you are also ready. If you calculate how long it took this person to mature, you realize their age is not a delay, it's preparation. And your age is the same thing. You were polished to be recognized by eyes that no young person has yet. Notice something that perhaps you've never connected the dots on. Every time you got close to the wrong love, something made you pull back. A fight for no reason, an unexpected revelation, a dream. a word spoken by someone seemingly random. That wasn't bad luck. It was protection. It was heaven removing stones from the path so that the right person could find a clear road to you. That's precisely why this ebook needs to be in your hands today. The Chosen Family Protection Handbook is not shelf literature. It's a spiritual map that reveals who is playing against your destined encounter, what rules they never taught you about recognizing the right person when they finally appear disguised as a coincidence in your life, and how to shield your spiritual field from the voices that want to convince you that love has an age limit. This ebook was created for those who have awakened enough to understand that the loneliness pushed upon you for so many years was not by chance, it was a weapon, and that there is a destined union waiting precisely for your yes. The link is still in the first comment pinned at the top, but I'll repeat what I've already said because I need you to understand the urgency. This content challenges narratives that many people have an interest in keeping alive, especially the narrative that your season of love is over. There have already been attempts to silence this knowledge. Download now and comment below with faith. I'm chosen and I'll download the ebook. Because the next part of this video is where the truth gets even sharper, and you won't want to receive this next revelation without the map in your hands. Every time you were rejected, left, forgotten, ignored by whom you thought was your destiny, that wasn't defeat, it was selection. You were being sifted. You were being separated. You were being kept. Because a union designated by heaven cannot be contaminated by those who are not prepared to reach it, and the price of this selection was the loneliness you felt. But the reward for this selection is the intensity of the love that is coming. No one is sifted like this to receive lukewarm love. No one crosses this kind of desert to receive a crumb. You were sifted to receive something that many young people will live their entire lives without feeling even once. And there's one detail that needs to be said clearly. The age that the world treated as a problem is precisely the reason why this love will be different from anything you've ever experienced. Because a young person loves with what they don't yet know about themselves. You will love with everything you have already discovered. A young person promises what they don't yet know if they can fulfill. You will promise what you already know how to honor. A young person falls in love with the image they create of the other. You will fall in love with the soul, because your eyes have already learned to see beyond the surface, and this is exactly why the enemy fought so hard to convince you that this phase was the end. Because this phase is where love stops being fantasy and starts being destiny, and no one undoes destiny. Have you noticed that strange things have been happening lately? Names come back to your head for no reason. You wake up in the middle of the night with your heart racing as if someone had just dreamed of you. You pass by places you've never been to and feel an absurd familiarity. You look at an old photo and an inner voice says something you can't yet translate. This has a name, it's spiritual synchronicity. It's the vibrational field of the person designated for you beginning to approach your field. Two destined souls don't meet out of nowhere on a street corner. They announce themselves first, they touch each other's fields first. They sniff each other in the invisible first. Then they see each other in the visible. And when the physical encounter finally happens, it seems like a coincidence to others, but to you, it's an explosion of recognition, as if you'd been waiting for that face your whole life without knowing it. But this is where many people miss their chance, because the person appears, and the mirror of her soul is too dirty from the lies she's been told. She arrives and hears in her head, "This person is too old for you. You deserve to start with someone with no past. It's not worth taking on such a built-up history." And the enemy whispers the same lies on the other side, in your ear. You can't open up again. You're ridiculous thinking about love at this age. You'll be embarrassed. You're not as attractive as you used to be. And if both sides hear these voices at the same time, the encounter falls apart. That's why spiritual preparation before the encounter is as important as the encounter itself. It's no use heaven preparing the person if you're not protected to recognize her when she arrives. There's a very specific spiritual reason why age has been used as a weapon against you, and that reason is both simple and terrifying. When a person believes they are past the age for love, they stop taking care of themselves internally. They stop dreaming. They stop preparing. They stop waiting. And when they stop waiting, the portal that should bring the encounter closes. Not because God gave up, God never gives up or gives, but because the portal requires a minimum of awakened expectation on your part to stay open. It's like an antenna. If the antenna is off, the signal continues to be broadcast in the air, but you don't receive it. And it was precisely this antenna that the enemy tried to switch off in you by repeating year after year, through friendly mouths and enemy mouths, through television, through malicious comments. The same, it's over, it's done for, accept it. Go with the flow. Every time you believed, a strand on your antenna fell off. And if you've made it this far, it's because there were enough strands left to pick up this video. And if these strands are still working, chosen one, it's because the whole antenna can be rebuilt. And that's why this ebook is reaching your hands right now, at this point in the video, not by chance. The Chosen Family Protection Handbook was made to reconnect the spiritual antennas that the enemy tried to disconnect in you during all these years of imposed loneliness. It teaches you exactly how to identify the imposters who will appear disguised as destiny precisely to hinder true connection, how to differentiate real synchronicity from emotional traps, how to position yourself spiritually so that the enemy cannot plant doubt in your heart the moment the right person arrives. The ebook reveals who is playing against your love story, what forces are operating against destined encounters at this stage of life, and what to do to shield not only you, but the entire family that will be born from this new beginning, your children, your grandchildren, your lineage. The link is in the first pinned comment at the top of the comments, and I need to repeat with all frankness, this type of content rarely stays online for long. What is in these pages contradicts the interests of people who make money selling you the idea that you're done for, and there have already been concrete attempts to take this material down. Don't put it off until tomorrow. Download it and comment below with faith. I'm chosen and I'll download the ebook. This comment is a spiritual declaration. It changes the field. It closes old doors. It opens new ones. Now that you've reaffirmed your yes, I want to take you to the final layer of revelation in this video, because this is where everything connects. The reconstruction of your antenna begins with something you need to understand now. You don't need anyone's permission to love again. You don't need your children's permission, who often think you've fulfilled your part in the world and should now remain silent waiting for birthday photos. You don't need the neighbor's permission, who will gossip, yes, but who will also die alone without ever having dared to feel again. You don't need the deceased's permission, if you've experienced that loss, because whoever went to heaven doesn't want you trapped in pain. Whoever went to heaven wants you to be happy on this side while there's still time. You don't need your ex-family's permission. You don't need permission from your old selves, that version of you who swore at 20 that love was only one. That vow was made by someone who didn't know life yet. You are another person now, and another person has another contract with heaven. Whoever wants to keep you tied to the old contract is someone who doesn't want you to receive the new one. And there's something even deeper. The person entering your life also needed to break old contracts to get to you. They also heard it was too late. They also believed for a while. They also cried at night thinking they had used their only chance. And the encounter between you two will be, deep down, the meeting of two people who, in the same spiritual instant, decided not to give up. Two people who tore up their old contracts. Two people who, without knowing each other, said the same yes to heaven. And it is this shared yes, given in the invisible before any exchanged glance, that makes the recognition on the first day so overwhelming. You won't meet each other. You will find each other again. Because on the soul plane, this encounter has already happened. It's just waiting to happen down here. Do you want to know how to identify this person when they appear? Pay very close attention. The first sign is that their presence will make you breathe differently. It's not an adolescent racing heart. It's relief, as if your chest, which had been tight for years without you realizing it, finally relaxed. The second sign is that you will feel safe to share things you've never told anyone, and they will receive them without judgment, almost as if they already knew. The third sign is that silly details will align, a specific food you both love, a song that made you both cry in the same year, a dream described almost in the same words. The fourth sign, and this is the most powerful, is that your ages will cease to exist. Not because you will pretend, but because when two designated souls meet, Chronological time dissolves. You will feel 20 years old next to them. They will feel 20 years old next to you, not in skin, but in spirit. And it is this spiritual rejuvenation that scares the enemy, because it means you both still have a great mission ahead. But I need to warn you about something. There are fakes. There are people who will appear in your path dressed as destiny, but who are merely tests. Confused souls who will seek you out because they sensed your light, but who are not the right person. They will say the right words in the first few days. They will charm you. They will make you believe. And then, exactly when your heart surrenders, they disappear or hurt you or reveal who they really are. This is not punishment, it's heaven showing that without spiritual preparation, you are still vulnerable to shortcuts. And the enemy loves shortcuts because he knows that if he can hurt you before the right person arrives, you will close the gate again, perhaps for good this time. There is a scene that repeats in almost every chosen person's life during this phase, and you will recognize it. An ordinary day without warning, a person you haven't seen in a long time appears in your path. It could be in a market, at a wake, at a wedding, at an appointment on social media, at a distant family gathering. This person looks at you differently. You notice it. They also notice that you noticed. You exchange a few words, and after that life goes on, but something has been sealed. You start thinking about this person more than you'd like to admit. You rationalize. You tell yourself it's nonsense, that it's over, that it's ridiculous. And then days later, this person contacts you in a way that seems like a coincidence, but it isn't. Some random topic, a trivial question, and the conversation extends and extends. And suddenly you're exchanging messages every night, and you can't sleep without talking to them anymore. Pay attention to this moment because it's the most delicate of your spiritual life. The enemy will stir up all the ghosts within you. They will plant the film of past rejections in your head. They will tell you that this person will hurt you like the others. They will push you towards silence, and if you disappear, the portal closes, and the person who was meant for you will leave thinking they were mistaken, and they will be alone, and you will be alone. And years later, you will both discover, too late, that that encounter was the encounter. Don't let that happen, chosen one. When this person appears, and they will appear or already have appeared, take a deep breath, pray in silence, and move forward with courage. Fear is the only thing that conquers those who have already been chosen. And if you were chosen, fear has no right to have the last word in your story. There is also another scenario. Perhaps this person is already in your life. Perhaps you've known them for years, but never considered them. Perhaps it's a friend, someone you talk to every week, someone who has always been there without you noticing. And suddenly, out of nowhere, you start looking at this person in a new way. This too is heaven moving. Heaven doesn't always need to send a stranger. Sometimes heaven reveals that the answer was right under your nose the whole time, waiting for you to mature enough to see it. And this type of love, the one born from a long friendship, is the most resistant to attack, because it has already been tested by years of living together without romantic interest. It's a foundation of stone. Regardless of the path this person will take to arrive, there is one thing you need to start doing today. You need to start preparing as if they were already arriving. Every time you take care of your body, you tell heaven that you accept being touched again. Every time you tidy your home, you tell heaven that you accept sharing space. Every time you speak well of yourself in front of the mirror, you break a curse of unworthiness that was cast upon you in the worst phases of your life. Every time you give thanks for what has come and what is to come, you accelerate the portal. And the portal, when accelerated with faith, produces encounters that seem like cinema. Encounters that make the whole family shut up. Encounters that make the pastor, the priest, the neighbor, the son, the brother-in-law look at you and realize that God was indeed acting while everyone else had given up. And let me tell you something that will hit your soul directly. The person who is arriving is not coming to fill a void. They are coming to recognize a wholeness that you took decades to build. Void attracts trouble. Wholeness attracts destiny. And you are whole, even if no one has told you that yet. You are whole because of the battles you won alone. Whole because of the children you raised. Whole because of the losses you navigated without going crazy. Whole because of the faith you maintained while everything around you pushed you towards discouragement. Whole because of the nights you cried, got up, and went to work anyway. This wholeness is your spiritual perfume. And there is a person whose soul's scent is tuned exactly to this perfume. When they smell it, it's coming, without hesitation. There's a difference between asking for love and receiving designated love. Those who ask negotiate. Those who receive designated simply open the door. And you, chosen one, are on the team of those who receive designated love. You won't have to chase. You won't have to diminish who you are. You won't have to accept scraps just to avoid being alone. The person who is meant for you will come to you, will insist on you, will declare themselves to you, will treat you with a reverence you've never experienced in your entire life, because this person was taught in the unseen about who you are. They know your value before you even know it yourself, and that's why when they arrive, you'll feel truly seen. After a lifetime of being looked at by people who didn't see you, someone finally did. And that's the purest definition of love. Someone saw your entire soul, with all that it is, and chose to stay. It was for this moment, for this preparation, and for this arrival that I prepared this e-book, the Chosen Family Protection Handbook. And that's why now, at the end of this video, I need to look you in the eyes again. This e-book is not about theory. It's the complete spiritual map that answers the questions you've been silently asking yourself in the dead of night. It shows, with names and rules, who is playing against your love story in this phase of life where the world tried to retire you from love. It reveals which forces were used to convince you that you'd already used up your chance and what to do exactly to reverse every negative declaration made about you in recent years. It teaches how to recognize the designated person when they arrive, how to differentiate destiny from a trap, how to shield the initial encounter in the first few weeks when the enemy attacks most fiercely, and how to protect, starting with this new love, your entire family, your children, your grandchildren, your lineage, against everything that has already tried to prevent restoration. The ebook delivers what no one has the courage to deliver, because many people profit from your loneliness. Many people gain by selling you products to help you better accept the idea that your time is over. This ebook is the opposing voice. It's the voice that says, you are not retired from love, you are a candidate for the best love of your life. The link is in the first comment pinned at the top of the comments. And I need to repeat this one more time, with all due weight. This content challenges big interests, challenges narratives planted in the minds of millions, and there have already been attempts to silence this knowledge. If you leave it for later, it might be that when you return, the link will no longer be there. Don't test this. Download now. And before you go, perform the act of faith that seals everything. Comment below, writing with your own hands. I'm chosen, and I'll download the ebook. Every word that leaves your mouth moves the unseen. Every word you write with faith closes an old door and opens a new one. And today, on the day you watch this video, heaven is offering you the chance to write a new chapter, not on paper, but in the book of your own life. You didn't arrive here by accident. You arrived because you were guided. Accept the guidance, download, comment, believe, and prepare yourself, because the person who is arriving won't give notice. They will simply arrive. And when they do, you, with the manual in hand and your heart shielded, will recognize, receive, and never let go. Age was never an obstacle to God's plan. Age was only an obstacle to those who believed the world. And you, chosen one, decided today that you no longer believe.